Hello, hello, and night. Thank you for being here virtually with me again. No, virtually for the first time, but we're talking
Exactly, exactly.
we're talking
Nice to
again
see you.
after a few years. So let's talk about old. And I know that you got the inspiration from this like French graphic novel Sandcastle, but and the story is very appealing. But but you have to connect with something
Yeah,
there personally, artistically, in order to just like make a whole movie about it, right? And it seems to
yeah.
me that there's a lot like existential, like even like spiritual things there. So can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, I thought the premise in the graphic novel was a great launching point for
Yeah,
this kind of conversation about the existential. For me, if there is a physical ride that the audience can go on, and I can talk about these existential things or sometimes spiritual conversations within that, that's the perfect combination for me, where I get to do these kind of complicated things, but the ride is there for the audience. And the graphic novel had that opportunity for me, which is it's an unusual combination.
but you did change. I mean, I'm not gonna mention that. We're not gonna like spoil the movie, but there's like some interesting changes. I mean, the original graphic novel is not so like wildly popular that some people will say, "Oh, this is not right," you know. But
Yes.
that thing give you the chance to just like change things, right? Because it's not like a whole like a big like comic book thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I felt because of its open-endedness, and it also the endings, the ideas that you see in this movie are inspired by some of the frames in the middle of the movie that I took and made my imagination went with, and I said, oh, I'm going to try to explain that frame there, and I kind of thought of a story based on the comic book, based on the graphic
Sure,
novel.
sure.
So if you go back and
So,
look at it, there's a couple frames in there um, that would tell you now that you've seen the movie.
oh, that's cool. That's cool. The fans are gonna be interested in that. So, how was shooting in like the Dominican Republic during like the wars period of like COVID, and why did you decide to do it? I mean, I'm gonna do it. It doesn't matter. I mean, I have to do this.
I'm crazy. Honestly, sometimes I get something in my head and I just drive forward and honestly, there's no um I can I'm just I get this. I have to do it, and we go and I take huge risks, and we did.
Yeah,
We went and shot during COVID, during a pandemic, on film, in hurricane season. Just everything you can imagine to make it as complicated as possible. All outdoors, all on a beach, weather dependent, everything you can imagine. To try to do a small movie like this, I was very touched by this story, and this particular cast was really important to me. I love them. So I wanted to make sure that I shot this movie. Even losing one of them to
yeah,
time would have been a bad, for me, very heartbreaking. So I fought hard to make it in this time period at that time. And in the end, it really made it very beautiful for all of us. We felt very precious about everything. And my memories of the movie are very intense and beautiful. Felt very lucky. It was like a dream. A lot of the actors refer to it as kind of a dream that we had there in the middle of all this.
yeah. And then you mentioned like, well, we mentioned like Dominican Republic, and that's a Latino country, of course. And there's a Latino actor in the main role, Gael García Bernal,
I
but
know. I
it's not
love
like
him.
it's not like he's like a Latino character, right? I mean,
No.
he's supposedly. Can you talk about that? Why did you cast him? And the character is called a guy. His last name is Kappa or something. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
even know where he's coming from. But can you talk about that?
Yeah, it's such a beautiful moment, I think, in where we are that Gael can just play a dad and a husband. He doesn't have to be, a Mexican character doing. He's just a dad, and it's a beautiful thing, and I love that they all have their accents and play their accents, and for me, this kind of worldly beach where everybody's from a different country is something lovely. You know, most of the actors, I mean, there was like 10 different countries that the actors were from. And I feel very much like an immigrant filmmaker in the United States. And Gael and I were talking, and we're saying, I was trying to think, when was the last, blockbuster that starred, Latina man? This is as a big thing, and we don't even think about it. It was just, I think Gael's a great actor, and he wanted to work with me, and we did it. And it's such a beautiful thing, and like, we're both, I'm an immigrant here in the United States, and it's beautiful. We're at this moment, and Universal Pictures is selling it all around the world, and people identify with Gael as a father and a husband. It's beautiful.
So was there like a specific movie of Gael that you like, and then you say, yeah, that's the guy?
Oh, Gael's somebody I've always wanted to work with. So I mean, he and I had spoken about, we got close once before on working on a project. We got very close.
Which one?
I can't tell you that. I can't tell you that. Got really close. So he and I have been in each other's lives for a bit here. So I'm very lucky that I got a chance to work with him now. Finally, I've always felt very close to him. He's such a sweet guy, and we got along very well. Yeah, he's such a buoyant guy. He's like, he has that star power about him. He's,
Oh, before finishing, can you talk a little bit about the visual style of the movie? Because I mean, it looks beautiful. I mean, can you talk about that? I know that you work with like storyboards before going to your shooting.
Yeah, no, it's we spent a ton of time doing the storyboards, about 3 months, just doing the drawings and me figuring out how I wanted to shoot it. What is the language of it? We were really pushing things on that beach. I was very excited by it. I made the movie over and over in my head by drawing them and putting them, like if you came to my office, you could see the whole movie. And how many shots per day are we going to get? It's all very worked out. And then when the actors came, I would walk them through everything that we're going to do, every shot, and how complicated it is. And some of these we're going to have to rehearse in advance because the choreography is very difficult. But I don't do kind of traditional coverage in that way. And so it's a high wire act a bit, but there's all kinds of meanings behind why we chose to do the type of dolly moves and why we do the zooms and why I chose film for it. The visuals of the movie, like I thought Mike did a great job. My cinematographer just killed it. He put months and months and months of work into it to make it happen.
So what are you expecting people to take from this movie? Because it's a very interesting one.
My hope is they have a extremely intense experience where they're just like, it's a tumbling experience, and then they can't stop thinking about it and can't stop talking about it. It's meant to be kind of stay with you. And a lot of people after they see the movie, they go, I'm calling my mom or I'm calling my kids. And they think about their relationships a lot. And the whole idea is if you experience time moving that fast for that amount of power, and then when you get kicked out of the movies and you're back to the way time is here, you feel grateful and you feel a bit different about things. So I'm hoping it stays with people.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you again for your movies. I really enjoyed them.
Take care, buddy.